Hi guys, welcome to All My Novel Ideas. This is Sharon. Today we're going to be doing a memory planning spread from August 2022. So I guess the best way to explain this would be giving some background. Me and my one of my best friends and I are both Army, and we didn't find that out about each other until last year, even though we both have talked about K-pop, like even going back to 2015. I think we both discussed Red Velvet at the time. And I've been Army since 2016. My first comeback was Blood, Sweat, and Tears, so Wings album. And she's been Army since she heard Paradise from Love Yourself Tear. Phenomenal album, right? But either way, I had sent a meme in group chat because I was catching up on run episodes I had missed from when I was working, and I was watching I think it's episode 134 to 136. It's when they're doing the Joseon Mafia Village one, but it was specifically about Tay being like, "Can I not pet a cat?" And I love cats, and I just found it really funny, so I'd sent it to my friends, and she was like, "Oh my god, I love Run BTS." And I was like, "Oh." And then we found out we were both Army, so we decided to start a rewatch of like all BTS content, which we started back in like March 2020. And we were both like really wanted to try soju, so we said we would try it together. So that's how this day came about. We had a day of playing board games and drinking soju, and it was a lot of fun. And sorry, I was asking my sister what she read in grade 12. I don't if you've watched my previous video, I was trying to remember what book I read in grade 12, and she was so right. It's The Great Gatsby. I literally could not remember for the life of me, but I'll put that in the description then. Anyways, going back to soju. So we had tried green apple, plain, and strawberry. And the by far winner of the day was strawberry. We thought we would actually like green apple the most, but I find it's if you've ever had high chews, I mean if you've ever had soju, you might have tried it. But either ways, if you haven't had soju but you've had like high chews or no, like high chews, it tastes like the high chew green apple, which is quite more subdued. I guess I thought it would taste more like Laffy Taffy green apple, like really not pungent, strong, really strong. But it was way more like laid back of a flavor. So it was fine. It just wasn't what I thought it would be, which doesn't mean that it was bad. It's just that I guess I wanted it to be more like in your face candyified. But the strawberry one was like really good. It was like sweet, and I'll really drink anything when it comes to drinks. I'm not a it doesn't have to be sweet, it doesn't have to be sour, beer, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I really liked the strawberry one. I also really enjoyed plain, but it's like plain. It was just like a clear liquor, but didn't burn as much as like vodka. It's also not as strong, but yeah. Either way, I wanted to do it, and I was like, I had this idea that I was going to draw the soju bottle and watercolor it in, and I just hadn't gone around to it. And once I get the idea of that's how I want it to look, I can't change it to something else. So what I'm doing here is I'm drawing out the Chum Churum strawberry soju. I know part of the Hangul does say soju, but I'm not sure what part, and I'm not sure what part says. I'm assuming it would say dalgi. I think that I think that's how strawberry is. If someone knows, they can correct me. But I'm assuming it says strawberry soju. I could be wrong. Either way, that's what I'm drawing. It's the Chum Churum one. Maybe I'll put a picture up on the screen if you've never seen it. So yeah, I I thought it was turning out pretty good, and then I was like, proportions are completely off, and I erased it and started all over again. But that's how a lot of my like drawings do. You know, you think it's going well, and then you're like, never mind, this is really bad, and then you erase it. So this is the second attempt I'm on. And then the games we played Monopoly, which like how do you play Monopoly? Okay, I was taught growing up that, any money from like those cards that you pick up in the middle or anything that doesn't go to the banker, like if it doesn't go to anyone, or maybe if it goes to the banker, anyways, any cards you pick up and it doesn't go to another player, the money goes in the middle and you win that money when you land on free parking. So this is how I've learned, years later that that's not even in the Monopoly rulebook. But either way, no one's gonna change it. Most of the people I know played it like that. My friend didn't, so I told her, well, we're going to play it like that because that's the fun way. But then, let alone, she also had a whole other rule that I didn't even know. That apparently, when you land on a spot, if you don't buy it, the spot then goes up to auction, so anyone else on the board can try and win it. And this is like in the Monopoly rulebook. I'm telling you, because she's telling me they play games in her house and it's like go for like 3 hours. I once had a game with my dad when I was younger. I think we played it over a span of 3 days because you don't just get to buy spots if someone else doesn't buy them. So it takes like forever. But I was having a really bad streak last year for Monopoly. I was losing. And I usually win. I had this one game I played against my parents. I kid you not, I think I rolled doubles like every fourth turn. And you know when you like roll doubles and then it's like the third time you roll when you go to jail? I kept going to jail. And then when I wasn't rolling doubles 3 times in a row, I was landing on the go to jail spot. I think I spent 60% of that game in jail. I got so broke. It was really funny. As you can see, I was going to draw the Monopoly like box, and then I decided that that was too ambitious and I didn't really want to take the time to do that. So I didn't. That's what I erased. Um, yeah, so I kept going to jail, and then I told my friend this, and I didn't have as bad of luck when we played, but she still beat me, which was fine. But I was also like, man, I gotta turn my luck around. But it was really fun. We were like, being landowners, drinking soju, good times. The other game we played was Skip Bo. I don't know if you've ever played it. To me, it's always been like a game that I played years ago in daycare, and then like whenever you go to someone's cottage, they'd have like Skip Bo. So I associate it as like a cottage card game. But maybe people do just play Skip Bo, and I just don't know. But she had never played it, so I introduced her to it. I think it's fun. It can take a long time, or it can be really fast because it's kind of up to the luck of who shuffled and how the cards mixed were. And it goes quicker when there's more than two of you. I think if 4 people is probably ideal. It goes pretty fast if there's 4 of you. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Just drinking my favorite pop there, Canada Dry ginger ale. Soda. I don't gingerbread. I don't know how to say ginger in French. Gingembre? No. Not gonna try. It looks like it would be Gingembre. Ombre, like November. Gingembre? I don't know. Maybe. I'm just drawing the Monopoly board here. I put 5 across because in my head I was like, oh, there's 5, and then I realized there's actually 10 spots across. But it was easier to just draw 5 in the end. as we can see, I went from like more complex to just real simplistic on this Monopoly board. I decided I was really pleased with the soju and I didn't really want to spend any more time on anything else. But I still like how it turned out ultimately. And then these dice were funny because I don't know if you'll be able, well, you might be able to see it, but the way I drew them is like mirrored, but that doesn't make sense because it's not like the 2 and the 3 would have been on the same side as the die. Like the die are made the same way, but that's not how I drew them. So I just kind of find that amusing when I look at the spread now. So now we are coloring in the soju bottle. So I've used the colors 990 is what I'm currently using for the label. The red is 725 and 845, I believe. 856, sorry. 856 for the red, the pink is 775, and the green, the lightest green would be the lightest green would be 173, and then the darker blue green is 277. I believe I also use an orange here. I think it's 905. So I'm just taking my watercolor brush. This is a very, very old one. When I'm using my Tombos as watercolor markers, I find it easiest to just use this watercolor brush. I've used it previously where I will use like my watercolor brushes and use like a jar of water. But for some reason I don't think the brushes stay wet enough for the marker, or I don't know, maybe I just don't like it as much. If I use my watercolor set, I prefer to actually use like a jar of water and brushes. Everyone's different, right? I liked this kind of like sketchy aesthetic where you just do the outline and then you paint in the middle. It kind of gives it a natural shading almost. Natural, sorry. It gives it a gradual shading would be the term I'm looking for. I would say that's kind of inspired by My Life with Mitts. It's not really how she does her things, but I just like how effortless and in her when she does her painting like sketches, she doesn't need them to look perfect. It's like she's kind of going as not as fast as possible, but it just looks handcrafted more than polished, and I like that look. Oh, that's not 905. That's definitely 925. Yes. That's 925 mixed with a bit of 773 to give it like a pinky orange lid, which is kind of what the bottle looks like. I like to just have a bit of tissue paper, toilet paper, whatever on hand when I'm using my watercolor brush just to kind of clean the tip off of any remaining color residue. I don't always do it, but sometimes it's just nice to when I feel like the colors might mix and I don't really want them to mix. It's just kind of something I do when I watercolor too. Not that I'm like a super amazing watercolor, but I've been trying to get better. I'm gonna do the skip bow brushes, so I'm taking 173 again. I kind of was going off of what I think the skip bow colors are. It's like, at least the set that I have, I was pretty sure 1 to 4 was green. No, I'm so wrong. 1 to 4 is blue, 5 to 8 is green, and then I think 9 to 12 is a reddish pink. So I flipped the green and the blue, but that's fine. Those two blues on the side are, the lighter one is 452 and the darker one is 476, the one I'm using currently. No, that's not 4, sorry. The darker blue is 565. Do you find it relaxing to watch people like do art? I find it, I don't know, something about watching people plan or like sketch or draw or paint. It's just kind of nice. I've always kind of felt that way. I don't know. I've always had an appreciation for art. I used to take art classes when I was younger. I'm sad I didn't really keep up with it, but I've been trying to get back into doing like things. I've been watercoloring a lot more this year, and I've been trying to at least sketch or doodle something at least like once a week. I actually painted my first digital painting um, back in August, and I need to start on a second one. And that was fun because the way I did it was inspired by, I can't think of his name. He was this artist I found on YouTube, and he basically was saying that instead of, you basically painted it so you didn't erase any brush stroke, you just started with a really large brush and then you decreased your size, adding so so you didn't really focus on detail until like the very end. And I found it a lot more forgiving because I wasn't trying to erase anything. So it's like you were kind of just covering up your mistakes. I really liked that way. I'd never, that's I guess how I used to paint when I had to paint like acrylic portraits for like high school art class, because you can't really erase like physical mediums, so you have to paint over them. And I found that way more natural than when I've tried to paint before on my iPad and then you erase brushstrokes. I really liked it, so I want to do another one. I think in total it took me about 10 hours. I think I did it over a span of a couple, maybe like 5 different days. So my goal was to maybe try and at least paint one serious photo like that until like the end of the year, or even just keep going like that until I've kind of developed my art style. For the Monopoly, I kind of just arbitrarily, is that the right word? Yeah, I kind of just arbitrarily chose colors. I'm like, I know blue goes at the very end where, what's it called? Boardwalk is, right? And then green, and then I'm like, then I think it's yellow, and then like there's orange somewhere, and there's like a pink, and then there's like a light pale blue. The board that we were playing was Disney Monopoly, which I always thought was fun growing up because it has like the hotel is Cinderella's castle, so you really feel like a important landlord when you have those on. So yeah, that's the end of watercolor. Now I'm just going to color in the label on the soju bottle, which I decided to. I guess I didn't realize I decided to watercolor on top the red, and then I don't know if I watercolored the black or if I just colored it in. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I watercolored in the black. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I'll just like color in on top, but then it does always stand out more. So this way, at least it'll kind of blend in more with the drawing. Are you getting ready for fall? I'm saying that because I just realized I thought it was spring, but no, this is September 21st. I guess it is fall. Happy fall, everyone. Autumn, whatever you call it. I guess if you're in the southern hemisphere, it would officially be spring now for you, which that could be fun. If your favorite month of the year is summer, favorite month, and by that I meant season. If your favorite season of the year is summer, mine is not. I definitely I definitely do like the winter. I know it's cold, but I do like the snow and stuff. Fall is definitely beautiful up here because we get to see the leaves change, and that's really nice. I want to go to Algonquin Park, I think, this fall, just as I haven't seen it in a couple of years, and the trees are really beautiful during the fall. I believe they usually say Thanksgiving weekend is the weekend with like the best colors on the trees, but that I think is also the busiest weekend because a lot of people know that, and then usually like university students are home because I think it's reading week and whatever. But yeah, it's nice that it's cooling down now. I always hate the humidity, so I like that we're getting kind of cold at night. But I know everyone's different. My mom and my sister are much more into heat. So for them, we're entering like the worst stretch of the year. What about you? What's your favorite season? Are you hoping to do anything fun? I haven't like I thought maybe it'd be fun to carve pumpkins this year. I haven't done it in years, like maybe 8 years. But then it's such a mess. I don't know. I'll think about it. I was just checking to see if it was dry enough for me to draw on top of. I'm not like super neat with the outlining at the end here. I don't care if there's color that spills over. I kind of like if it looks a little messy. I'm just using the outline to make it pop more. And I do mess up at one point with the perspective of the label through the bottle. I drew it at the wrong angle, but that's okay. Maybe you wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't said anything. Yeah, I think the footage cut out there, so you didn't actually see me finish it. But I drew my title for Board Games and Soju. I do it in this kind of weird, messy block letter. And then I outline the block letter. I like it. But thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day, great week, great night. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.